The intricate design cut into the Bavarian farm was discovered by a balloonist last week. The farmer who owns the land told a German news agency that he didn't make the circle.
In mid-July 2025, the quiet fields of Upper Bavaria briefly became the stage for a global headline thanks to a vast crop circle formation etched across nearly 5,000 square meters of wheat.
Now, if you imagine the crop circles as being, let's say you have a simple circle, and you imagine these as actually being four-dimensional.
Owned by local farmer Franz Zerhoch. First spotted around July 19th to 20, the design captured attention through photos and videos that spread rapidly across social media, prompting curious visitors to flock to the site. Now, there are claims that quantum AI just decoded the fresh crop circle. So, what's the deal? Let's find out. The fresh crop circle. In mid-July 2025, the Bavarian countryside once again became the backdrop for a phenomenon that has long fascinated both locals and visitors from around the world: the sudden appearance of a crop circle. This latest formation emerged in a wheat field between Frieding and Rothenfeld, close to the market town of Andex in Upper Bavaria. The wheat field where the circle appeared belongs to farmer Franz Zerhoch, whose family has cultivated the land for decades. His property, lying not far from the Ammersee Lake, quickly became the focus of attention as news of the formation spread. The site, surrounded by gently rolling farmland, was transformed overnight into a gathering place for curious onlookers, amateur photographers, and those seeking to interpret the enigmatic geometry pressed into the grain. Measurements taken from drone imagery and on-the-ground observation confirmed that the formation was among the larger examples documented in Bavaria in recent years. The crop circle stretched to an estimated diameter of between 80 and 85 meters. This is an overall footprint of nearly 5,000 square meters within the wheat. The design was notable for its precision, appearing as a striking morning star pattern radiating outward, surrounded by a border resembling a meander or Greek key motif. This combination of central radiance and classical decorative geometry set the Frieding circle apart from simpler ring or spiral formations sometimes reported in the region. It was most easily visible from the air, which was indeed how it was first identified. Yet, its intricacy was immediately appreciated by those who ventured into the field to stand within the flattened stems. The formation was first sighted either by a hot air balloonist flying over the region or by an aerial drone operator on July 19th or July 20th, 2025. Within hours, images were circulating on local social media channels and crop circle enthusiast networks, quickly drawing attention beyond the Bavarian community. Between July 20th and July 22nd, multiple videos and drone flyovers were posted online, giving viewers across the world a detailed look at the design. Local newspapers picked up the story as the images went viral, bringing further streams of visitors to Frieding. The response from the farmer himself was pragmatic. Faced with a ripening wheat crop that represented months of work and a significant portion of his annual income, Franz Zerhoch decided to harvest soon after the formation was discovered. Unlike some landowners in past cases who allowed circles to remain for weeks in order to attract visitors and tourism, Zerhoch prioritized preserving his harvest. He told local media that while the design was certainly unusual, it was important to prevent excessive trampling and damage caused by the influx of curious crowds. Before the harvest machines rolled across the field, however, visitors did arrive in significant numbers. Reports described zahlreiche Schaulustiger, or numerous onlookers, gathering at the edge of the field to witness the design firsthand. The brief window between the circle's discovery and its harvesting became an impromptu period of visitation, with people parking along rural lanes and walking through the countryside to glimpse the pattern. Such gatherings are not unprecedented in this part of Bavaria. In 2014, for example, a large and elaborate crop circle near Raisting, approximately 20 kilometers from Frieding, attracted thousands of visitors and became a media sensation across Germany. While the Frieding Circle of 2025 did not remain long enough to generate the same prolonged level of tourism, it nonetheless recalled that earlier episode. Farmers and municipal authorities in Bavaria have long expressed mixed feelings about crop circles.
Crop circles, hollow moons, some really crazy shit have flipped me around.
Crop circles is a weird one.
On one hand, they bring positive attention to a region rooted in agricultural tradition, sometimes leading to boosts in local businesses as visitors purchase food, drink, and accommodations. On the other hand, the sudden arrival of large crowds onto private land can cause unplanned disturbances, safety concerns, and economic losses. Damage to standing crops can extend far beyond the circle itself, as visitors trample fields while attempting to view or photograph the designs. Also, by mid-July, Bavarian wheat is nearing full maturity, with the harvest season in Upper Bavaria typically beginning in late July or early August. Allowing thousands of additional visitors during this sensitive period could have had significant consequences for yield and crop quality. For a farmer managing several hectares, a loss of even one field can translate to a substantial economic setback. As with previous formations in Bavaria, the Frieding Crop Circle quickly entered online archives maintained by crop circle researchers and enthusiasts. Websites such as Crop Circle Connector catalogued the images, maps, and coordinates, ensuring the formation's details would remain accessible long after the field was harvested. Let's take a walk through History Lane for perspective. Local history of crop circles. The Ammersee-Weilheim-Raisting region of Upper Bavaria has developed a distinctive place in the modern history of crop circles. Over the past decade, this area, characterized by its fertile farmland and proximity to Munich, has witnessed several high-profile formations that have attracted attention far beyond Bavaria. While crop circles have been reported in Germany since at least the 1990s, it is in the fields near Raisting and around the Ammersee that the phenomenon has repeatedly drawn crowds, sparked media interest, and created a recurring conversation about their origins. The combination of wide, open fields, aerial visibility, and proximity to population centers makes this part of Oberbayern a natural stage for such events. And over time, the region has become closely associated with these mysterious designs. The most famous case in the area occurred in July 2014, when a large and intricate crop circle was discovered in a wheat field near the small town of Raisting, situated just a few kilometers south of the Ammersee. The formation was first reported on July 28, 2014, and within hours, it became a sensation across Germany. Measuring approximately 75 meters in diameter, the design consisted of concentric circles and a pattern resembling a floral mandala. The symmetry and scale of the Raisting circle captured immediate attention, with aerial photographs circulating rapidly in the national press and on social media. Reports in newspapers such as Süddeutsche Zeitung noted that several thousand visitors traveled to the site in the days after its discovery. Normally a quiet Bavarian town of around 2,000 residents, Raisting suddenly became the destination for spiritual seekers, photographers, tourists, and the merely curious. The location of the crop circle, just beside the grounds of the Raisting Earth Station, a field of large satellite communication dishes dating back to the 1960s, added to the mystique. Many visitors drew symbolic links between the high-tech antennas and the unexplained circle in the wheat, even though the connection was coincidental. Farmers in the area, while initially tolerant of the crowds, soon expressed concerns about the damage caused by visitors walking through crops. The farmer whose land hosted the 2014 circle eventually filed a police complaint. In the years that followed, other formations continued to appear across Oberbayern, albeit often smaller and less widely reported than the 2014 Raisting event. In July 2016, another crop circle was documented in a field near Raisting, though its design was simpler and did not generate the same scale of tourism. Reports from local media outlets noted that the 2016 circle still attracted hundreds of visitors within a week of its discovery. Farmers once again voiced their frustrations. The local agricultural associations even began to issue statements reminding the public that the fields were private property. By the early 2020s, crop circles in Oberbayern had become a semi-regular occurrence, with designs emerging sporadically in different fields around the Ammersee. While not all were as visually spectacular as the Raisting Circle of 2014, they maintained a steady presence in regional reporting and online archives, such as the Crop Circle Connector, which catalogues formations worldwide. The repeated emergence of these formations led to speculation that the region had become a deliberate target. The July 2025 Frieding Crop Circle, discovered near Andex, just 20 kilometers north of Raisting, fits squarely into this local history. The geometry of the Frieding Formation, an 85-meter morning star surrounded by a meander, recalled the scale and precision of the 2014 Raisting design. During the peak of the Raisting event in late July and early August 2014, nearby guest houses and cafes reported sudden spikes in customers, with some establishments doubling their daily business compared to average summer weeks. The municipality of Weilheim-Schongau, in which Raisting is located, estimated that several thousand people had visited the site within just a few days. In 2025, much like a decade earlier, local coverage describes similar streams of cars parked along rural roads, with visitors walking through fields to reach the circle. But wait, there's another angle to this whole thing. AI and analysis context. AI has helped us immensely in detecting and mapping circular agricultural features from aerial and satellite imagery, classifying crops and field patterns at scale, and doing routine computer vision measurements on photos and videos.
And plot them on a computer, you find that there's a relationship. And this relationship from the physical design to the ripples is based on basic geometric principles.
Below is a tight, factual run-through with concrete methods, papers, metrics, places, and dates, all about what AI has really done here. In peer-reviewed remote sensing work, deep learning detectors such as MaskRCNN and YOLO have been trained to find circular agricultural patterns from Google Earth and satellite imagery. A 2021 paper in Applied Sciences built a dataset of 2,511 circular irrigation fields from Google Earth over East Owainat in Egypt and benchmarked MaskRCNN against YOLO v3. The authors reported that YOLO v3 tends to detect more crop circles while compromising on precision, whereas MaskRCNN was more precise, although less accurate. A major line of research focuses on mapping irrigation circles, the round fields made by center-pivot irrigation systems, over very large areas. For example, a 2021 study in Brazil's Mato Grosso region used satellite images and a combination of AI tools to spot these circles. First, a lightweight detector found possible circles, then another AI model checked which ones were real, and finally, a geometric method called the Hauff transform measured their exact size. In one stage of the study, the system flagged 846 possible circles, 619 of which were correct. After filtering and measuring, the team accurately mapped irrigation fields ranging from about 310 to 80 meters across. Other teams used different AI methods, like UNet networks, to trace the boundaries of these circular fields from high-resolution commercial satellites such as PlanetScope. This helps scientists measure irrigated areas and track changes between growing seasons. Because circles are relatively simple shapes, researchers often combine AI with old-fashioned geometry. The AI is good at finding where the circles might be, while geometry tools are good at fitting the exact shape, especially when the circles are partly hidden or noisy in satellite images. This mix of approaches is perfect for finding circles in fields. Beyond detecting circles, most agricultural AI focuses on identifying crops. For instance, a 2019 study in California used time series models on satellite data to classify crop types and reached about 85% accuracy. Similar work in Germany in 2018 classified 17 different crops with about 75% overall accuracy, with higher scores for major crops like wheat and maize. When the 2014 Raisting Crop Circle was discovered in a wheat field covering nearly 75 meters in diameter, amateur analysts used computer modeling to show that its six-pointed flower of life design could be generated from simple compass and ruler constructions. Software allowed them to overlay the design onto aerial photographs to demonstrate its precision. When enthusiasts claim that AI has detected hidden patterns in crop circles, what often happens is that off-the-shelf pattern recognition software is run on high-resolution aerial images. These programs, whether designed for facial recognition or general object detection, sometimes highlight repeating arcs or geometric overlays. In scientific circles, this is called apophenia, or the tendency to perceive meaningful connections in random or unrelated data. Precision agriculture and remote sensing in Germany illustrate the true value of AI. Bavaria alone has over 3.1 million hectares of arable land, and local farmers rely increasingly on AI-driven platforms to optimize yields and reduce environmental impact. Sentinel-2's 10-meter resolution multispectral imagery, analyzed by convolutional neural networks, provides near real-time updates on crop health. These systems can flag circular damage caused by irrigation equipment malfunctions or fungal infections, sometimes producing images that, to an untrained eye, resemble crop circles. Such genuine applications highlight why AI is transformative in farming, while also reminding us how easily technical imagery can be misinterpreted when removed from context. It is also important to note that crop circle artistry itself often relies on mathematical guides and careful construction. Now comes the time for the grand reveal: debunking sensational claims. For decades, crop circles were widely attributed to extraterrestrial visitors or unknown cosmic forces, but over time, the mystery was systematically dismantled through admissions, investigations, and demonstrations that proved human authorship. Perhaps the most important turning point came in 1991, when two men from Southampton, England, Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley, publicly confessed that they had been making crop circles since 1978. Their admission, covered by the British press, included demonstrations of their technique. Using simple tools, such as wooden planks, ropes, and measuring tape, they were able to flatten crops into precise circles and elaborate designs overnight. Their confession revealed that what many had believed to be the work of alien spacecraft was instead a form of land art that combined geometry, careful planning, and stealth. This disclosure became a watershed moment in debunking sensational claims. Germany provides another important case study in how the myth was challenged and gradually dismantled. In the 1990s, when crop circles began to appear more frequently in Bavaria, Schleswig-Holstein, and Saxony-Anhalt, many were initially treated as unexplained. However, both journalists and skeptical investigators soon discovered that local groups of enthusiasts were behind some of the most striking formations. In Bavaria, members of art collectives later admitted to creating patterns to test the media's reaction, and in Schleswig-Holstein, a series of circles near Wilster in 1994 drew large crowds and UFO speculation until a group of pranksters demonstrated that they had made them with boards and string. German tabloids, which initially ran stories about alien visitors, eventually began covering the human side of the phenomenon, reporting on Kornkreismacher, or crop circle makers, and their motivations. Even in Frieding, Bavaria, where formations appeared in 2012 and again in 2025, local farmers and journalists noted how easily human artisans could replicate such designs without resorting to UFO explanations. By the mid-2000s, documentaries on German television often included demonstrations by artists showing how complex geometric designs could be made in just a few hours with nothing more advanced than ropes, stakes, and graph paper sketches. The techniques themselves are striking in their simplicity, which is why the persistence of mystery is often more about psychology than mechanics. To create a basic circle, makers anchor a rope to a central stake and walk outward with a board, pressing down the crops in an arc. This simple method produces a perfect circle. More complex designs, such as spirals, Celtic knots, or fractal-like Mandelbrot patterns that became famous in the 1990s, require little more than careful planning with mathematical grids drawn on paper beforehand. By scaling these grids to the dimensions of the field and using ropes to measure distances, a team of 2 to 4 people can create formations hundreds of feet across in a single night. Artists have publicly demonstrated how patterns that once inspired breathless speculation, such as the 1996 Julia Set formation near Stonehenge in England, could be constructed by dedicated human teams with nothing supernatural involved. Even the intricate formations often touted as too complex for humans have been reproduced under controlled conditions. And it only took 1 or 2 nights. The persistence of extraordinary explanations owes much to the psychology of witnesses, particularly the reports of glowing orbs or strange lights often seen before or after a crop circle appears. Investigations into these sightings suggest that they stem from a mix of expectation, misperception, and natural atmospheric phenomena. For example, when people already suspect extraterrestrial involvement, they are more likely to interpret mundane stimuli as evidence. A distant aircraft light, the glow of Venus low on the horizon, the flicker of ball lightning, or even fireflies can be perceived as anomalous orbs if seen in the right context. Furthermore, crop circles are often located in rural areas with little light pollution, where faint lights in the sky are more noticeable and easier to misinterpret. This tendency, known in psychology as expectancy bias, means that a person predisposed to believe in UFOs will more readily connect any visual anomaly with extraterrestrial explanations. Researchers have noted that people visiting crop circles at night are already primed by popular culture, documentaries, or previous news reports to associate lights with alien craft, which makes ordinary observations feel extraordinary. In addition to bias, deliberate misdirection has also played a role in sustaining the myths. Some crop circle makers admitted to planting subtle clues, like dropping small LED lights or leaving ambiguous footprints, specifically to fuel the UFO narrative and ensure that the media would latch onto their work. This feedback loop between human artistry, media amplification, and public imagination created an environment in which simple art projects could generate international stories of alien contact. Sensational headlines amplified the mystique, while scientific explanations were often buried in the back pages. In Germany, this cycle was especially visible in the 1990s and 2000s, when newspapers oscillated between publishing claims of UFO landings and later running follow-up pieces, where artists explained how they had staged the whole event. In Germany, Britain, and elsewhere, farmers and local officials now treat these formations less as mysteries and more as nuisances or tourist attractions. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Did you like this video? If you did, please consider liking, dropping a comment, and hitting the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on our new uploads. Also, don't miss this video you see on your screen right now. It's truly unbelievable.